So I think we've kind of, spun everything that we can spin on as the Pac-12 tournament. So we started doing some homework about, the potential future suitors for the Pac-12. And we were told one of those teams will not, in fact, be UNLV is unlikely, according to sources we spoke to join the Pac-12. And I'm not sure that I understand this one. If we're going to, and I know, listen, Fresno fan, take it easy. I get it. It upsets you. But if we're going to add Fresno State, why wouldn't the Pac-12 look at UNLV? It's mind-blowing to me. If you are going to add a very small sliver of the Dallas Metroplex to the Pac-12 at SMU, why would you not add UNLV? It's a better basketball school, in my opinion. They have the potential to win at football. They have a nice market in Las Vegas that is one of the biggest growing markets, one of the fastest growing markets in the country. It is a destination. Jake, it's a little surprising to me that the Pac-12 does not find UNLV attractive.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a great point. Like, if you're going to add, these other smaller markets, why wouldn't you add UNLV? I think it's a great question because it speaks to logic. And once again, with this Pac-12 TV deal situation, I think that's where you kind of have to have the conversation from, hey, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? And I feel like when we use the nice, catchy lingo of the Pac-12's footprint, you look at SMU and it's like, hey, that's not really in the Pac-12's footprint. Now, I know the Pac-12 wants to expand to Texas, and they've always been after Texas since the beginning of time, and I totally understand that. But I still maintain that you're not in a position to really go way outside of your footprint and try to add somebody who doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I think that UNLV, to me, is like the only question with UNLV is Las Vegas a strong enough market to warrant adding them? I think that's literally the only question. I don't know that it has anything to do with UNLV itself. I don't know that it has anything to do with the institution itself. I think the institution's fine. Right? Like, it's not the biggest school in the world, obviously, but I do think that they could bring some value to the Pac. My only question is, hey, you're in a town where you've got, how many sports teams now, and you're talking about adding how many? Right? Like, you've got the NHL, you've got the NFL, you're talking about adding the NBA. Don't tell me Major League Baseball is not at least taking a peek. Like, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of competition there. And I know in the other areas in the Pac-12, obviously you have a good mix of pro teams and stuff. But I think the difference with Las Vegas is it's such a transient town.
Well, that's very true.
People
go
I agree to Las Vegas for 3 days, 4 days, and then they're out. So that vibe that you have, it's, UW, let's say, or hell, Utah, or, any of these schools that are in their own city, like, they don't have to deal with the transient nature of a destination city.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you're never going to be able to get away from here if you're the Pac-12 is there's no way to replace USC in this conference. There's just not. And I think to a much lesser extent UCLA, but I think the value and the brand power of USC is what you're not going to be able to replace, because frankly, I don't even know where you begin to do that, because I don't care who you add, whether it's Fresno, San Diego State, UNLV, Colorado State. You pick the supposed candidate, and I would tell you none of them are bringing the value, the power, the brand power, the significance that Los Angeles and USC brings. I think it's a no-brainer that you would add San Diego State, but I also think there's a lot of value in looking at UNLV, and I agree with you. I think it's difficult the way that UNLV is positioned in Las Vegas, but if that town gets an NBA team, if that town gets a baseball team, the NHL has very clearly thrived there. It's the home for the Ultimate Fighting Championship at the UFC. It really is a destination place. And if you want to bring more dollars into that town and you want to bring more people into your footprint, UNLV home football games on a Saturday before a Saturday night hockey game, NBA game, UFC fight, before you're going to see Celine Dion at the Coliseum. Like, that's not the worst fit in the world. And with the history and tradition of Jerry Tarkanian, it's a little surprising to me. And I'll be honest with you, the way that my sources put this, it's not even a possibility. That's the way it feels. Like, no. No. Fresno State, San Diego State, like SMU, yes. UNLV, no. Never. Like, that's what's so surprising here is it feels like people in the Pac-12 aren't even open to the conversation, which is stunning because you look at the way Angelinos travel to Las Vegas. You look at the Lakers that play a preseason game in Las Vegas every year. The NBA is massive there. The All-Star game was massive there. I think that, again, not to be redundant, but the way that the Vegas Golden Knights have really been embraced by that town, the way the Raiders have been embraced by that town, it should be no surprise that major sports teams, conferences, companies want to do business in Las Vegas, Jake, and it just feels like a little premature to be writing off UNLV and Las Vegas as a market for the Pac-12.
Yeah, and I think, especially like the point you make there about never being able to replace SC and really never being able to replace the Los Angeles market, I think is spot on. But hey, I think a nice secondary would be Las Vegas. I think, again, yes, it is a transient town, but if you project forward 20 years, if you were to make an investment in that market, let's say, before this calendar year is up or next calendar year, like, in the next 1 to 2 years, does that investment then grow for your conference in terms of TV dollars? Yeah. Because that market has grown and because that market has gone from just having summer league to now having a full flight NBA team, like having, no real baseball presence to having a full major league team. Like that's what I think you have to consider with UNLV. But ultimately, I think that's really it for UNLV. And that's kind of the problem. You can paint a picture, but
you know what the real problem is? How old? You're 29.
Yeah.
Right? You have no idea who Jerry Tarkanian is.
Yeah.
You have no idea who George Ackles is. You have no idea who Grandmama is. Anderson Hunt. You know Greg Anthony is a basketball announcer. You don't know him as a guard on one of the best teams in the history of college basketball.
Oh, what are you talking about, man?
I think, and this is the same thing I say about Fresno all the time, and I'd love to get into this in the comments section. When we talk about relevant teams being added to the Pac-12, if they go through expansion, I think that's a big if. But if you look at Fresno State and UNLV, which one of those two is more relevant? And I mean, hell, we can throw in SMU as well. I don't think SMU or Fresno State are irrelevant. But man, you look at UNLV's basketball history, I think there's something there. I do. I don't think that it is. I don't think it's nearly as much about UNLV as it is about Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. I just think there is some kind of, I don't know, do you call it a pariah about Las Vegas in Pac-12 circles? I think there very well may be. As much as I think Southern California folks and West Coast folks love going to Las Vegas, I think there's, I don't know, what is a dirty little secret? Like, I just think that Vegas has a stigma about it. And I think it hurts UNLV. Now, the scandals, the lack of quality, the lack of really any, I don't know what, semblance of a winning tradition at UNLV, that really hurts you because all the other events that come to Las Vegas, look at NBA Summer League. That's a boom for that town, right? Look at the Super Bowl. That's a boom for that town. Bowl games, boom for that town.
Yeah.
But talk about UNLV, nobody talks about UNLV. Nobody. And that's part of the thing that's very difficult to deal with.
Yes.
Right?
The relevancy is not particularly high.
And I wonder how important that is. I wonder how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be. I mean, it has to be a big factor. I mean, you look around the landscape and you look at who might be a potential candidate, and now, frankly, who is not a candidate based on our sources. And I think you start to understand that, you have to, it almost feels like in the Pac-12, you have to be a no doubt about it type candidate. You have to be like, if someone said to the Pac-12, hey, Alabama wants to join, what do you think? Well, obviously. Hey, Georgia wants to join, what do you think? Obviously. But if you're anything other than a top tier, top flight college football team, or really top tier school at that, they're not even going to consider it.
Yeah, totally agree. By the way, first comment today, a little controversial. It's Lopes Fan Gabe. And he says, speaking of Deep Insider, what's the latest on Jake's dating life?
Deep Insider.
Anita Dick and Ming.
Ain't no reset.
Okay, that was awesome. That was
Gabriel,
awesome.
you, sir, have crossed the
That
line.
was awesome. By the way, Meat Rocket wants everybody to know that Meat Rocket is in the house. So is it going to be that kind of day? DeLambo says, stomp that like button like Draymond does. See what he did? See what he did there? Shams, by the way, is reporting that Draymond will not be suspended. Will not be suspended. So plenty of toast for all the butter. Are you taking over/under on Jake getting married by 33? Jesus. 33 years from now? I think we're taking over/unders on that. 33 years. Mrs. Monty's burner account. I'd pick UNLV over Fresno, but that's just me.
Okay.
Would I.
Listen to me. You're absolutely embarrassing that account right now. You can't have real conversation when your name is Mrs. Monty's burner.
Well, there is that.
You can't do that, dude. That would be like, Meat Rocket not making, meat stick jokes all the time. Like, come on, dude. You got to step your game up here.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God. Are we going to start a theme? Renee Roca says, questions virgins ask. Go. Okay, Jake, being a virgin, you're an expert in this one. Go right ahead.
No, I'm actually not.
What's that thing for? Outside the echo chamber, was Utah academically great prior to the Pac-12? Well, I think Utah's always been academically great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was a matter of, hey, they joined the Pac-12 and all of a sudden, I just don't think that's the case. Rick James, I heard Monty got a bucked up enema. You can get a bucked up enema.
A bucked up enema?
No, I mean, I do have the Mango Tango.
Yeah, I'm on that Pixie Stick live today, bro. Pixie Pump.
Yeah, I'll tell you, thanks to our friends at Bucked Up Energy, the official energy drink of the Monty Show, there was a moment last night where I went to the Bucked Up store to try and get Miami sold out again.
I guess I'll have to figure something out.
The guy at the Bucked Up store said, every day somebody comes in here and says, Monty said I got a free Bucked Up Energy.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Cheers to you, my friends.
Yeah.
Cheers to you.
How about that?
But stop buying Miami so I can get some. Can you break me off some Miami, please?
Do something for me.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah.
Mango Tango, and again, the Pixie Pump.
Yes.
Fantastic. Get it at buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty to get 20% off at checkout. But you guys, I really encourage you, if you're new to this show, and I know we have a lot of new viewers on this show every day, if you're new to this show, go get the free samples from Bucked Up. It's in the description below. It's been a boom for our listeners. You get 3 free samples of any Bucked Up product that you want. I would encourage you to use their pre-workout. If you're a gym guy, if you need something in the middle of the day and you know that feeling, it's after lunch and you're just in that lull and you're not really feeling it, something like the Pixie Pump.
Yes.
They have non-stim, which is what the Pixie Pump is. It's not, which means it's got no caffeine or stimulant in it, but it just, opens up your mind. It makes you feel more alert. Absolutely. Today at 1:30, I was up at 5 this morning, went and worked out, played a bunch of golf today, a little bit of low energy today. Boom, bang the Pixie Pump, feels so much better. That sounds different. But anyway, after banging the Pixie Pump, I felt much better, and I'm telling you, that's the best part about Bucked Up Energy. So get the free samples, use the pre-workout, low stim, high stim, anything you want, and you get a free Bucked Up shaker. They are the best shakers in the business. I love them because you can customize the colors. If you are an Oregon fan, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you can get that white, blue, and red. If there are no Florida State fans, so I don't need to worry about that. If you're a Notre Dame fan, yeah, you can get the gold and blue, whatever colors you want, whatever you need, get it at buckedup.com. Click the link below in the description on this YouTube or podcast. It says free samples from Bucked Up. Hook it up. They'll send it right to your front door for free. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on The Monty Show. Bucked Up Energy, the official energy drink of The Monty Show. Outside the echo chamber. Whoa. Comment dump. Outside the echo chamber, Jake has dreams of soaking one day. Who's going to be the earthquake? Truck Stop Gumby says Pixie Pump sounds sus. Oh, dude, it's not.
It's good, bro. It's really
not
good.
I won't lie. It tastes like candy. You pour the powder out of the little tube.
Let me pour the powder out the tube.
Jake, show them how it's done. Yep, you just pour that powder right out the tube, and then you don't do anything. You just let it melt on your tongue, and it's good to go.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. I love the watermelon.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's not sus at all, you guys.
No, it's not. It's actually, and you know what's impressive about it? You can just like, even while doing the show, or like, you know, at your desk or any, like it work. You can chill next to you while you're doing whatever you're doing, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I think I love it. I absolutely love it. I would encourage you to check it out. By the way, you never know if you guys send us, pictures of you with Bucked Up. If you guys send us pictures of you with our Papa Murphy's Pizza deal, any of that,
Yeah.
maybe you get free gear for it. Maybe, who knows, right? Hook it up. The Monty Show. Fear the Deer. Why would it be good Draymond doesn't get suspended, Jake? We'll talk about that coming up in 40 minutes. I think it is the biggest NBA story, no doubt. David Johnson says, go Rebels. I really hope Christopher Johnson. What did Christopher Johnson say?
Johnson.
Barry Odom will turn UNLV around. He needs to. UNLV, the brand that was Jerry Tarkanian, Tark the Shark. Those of us that grew up in the 90s, dude, I kid you not, my favorite basketball player for like 3 months was George Ackles.
Stay hard.
Who remembers Big George Ackles, the center at UNLV during the heyday of Tark the Shark and
What's up, big bro?
Duke and UNLV and the massive shorts with untucked jerseys? Like, George Ackles was my dude. I loved UNLV. I think we all loved UNLV basketball, except Jake, who's never heard of him. But that's fine. You know.
Good talk.
That's fine. Chad Masters says Reedley, California is nice this time of year. Hey, dude. I have spent time in Reedley, California, I'm telling you. Levi Long. What's up, Levi? A bucked up enema would be painful, dude. Had a colonoscopy last week. Trust me, there are things you think about. Taco and Tech. Does it take two to mango tango?
So do you see what he did there? Does it take two to tango, but instead he did does it take two to mango tango? Like the flavor of Bucked Up, because Bucked Up's the official energy drink of the Monty Show.
Yeah. Dale Donuts. Did he just say he's banging pixies? Tinkerbell is hot. Hey, man. I ain't got no shame. Patrick Bourne says Big 12 is open for business. You know what? I think this is a really fascinating point. I don't think anything is going to happen for a significant amount of time. And hey, listen, I know that we all have our trusted, shows that we watch or whatever. I have not heard one time in, I don't know what, the last month, nobody has said to me, oh, hey, these guys are going right now.
Guys.
Because that's not how it works. And this was the issue with the Colorado rumors last week.
Yeah.
You can't go into an executive session behind closed doors and vote to leave the Pac-12. That's legally you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You got to. That's public business.
Yes.
Right. And we were told nothing significant was determined in that meeting. Nothing significant was determined. Nothing changed. It was pretty much a status meeting, and there were other athletic issues discussed. And they did discuss Big 12, Pac-12. But the only thing that I would tell you is I've heard multiple times that the Pac-12 presidents are well aware of what the number is. They know what their deal is going to look like. And I've heard that a dozen times. They know the number and again, the number that keeps coming back to me is $22 million per school per year.
Yeah.
That is the number that consistently resonates with the sources that I talk to. And it's not surprising to me. It really is not, because ESPN, as we told you last week, ESPN and the Pac-12 are talking. Once more, they are re-engaged, and that number has not moved off of $90 million.
No.
So ESPN is willing to pay the Pac-12 $90 million a year per. That's $9 million per school.
Yeah.
And I do believe that ESPN would go up to $100 million per year to the Pac-12. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that is the max, and I think that's going to be pulling teeth to get that done. And so you see Patrick saying, hey, the Big 12 is open for business. I don't think the Big 12 has ever not been open for business.
Seriously. The phone's always been on, bro.
And again, all of the things, and I always tell you guys this, apply some common sense to the stuff you hear. You know, like as somebody that's been involved in the Pac-12 for over a decade, you have to understand that this conference has very thin skin. And I think the conference never got over. So whenever you have tumult and instability like this, I think you are going to see that you have a group of presidents that, what's the right way to say this? They're not real tough people.
Yeah.
They're not people that are going to do well with this stuff. I look at the situation with Rick George in that tweet the other day. I think that was his breaking point, because when you have an account that, I don't know how, it's probably a bot. I have no idea. But when that account is tweeting that Colorado's taking a vote to leave the Pac-12, that never happened. And somebody like Rick George, who's an athletic director, has no reason not to call that out, because this conference right now is at a boiling point. They are frustrated. They are, I think, frankly, they are humiliated. And I think they want to get to the end of the road as soon as they can. But you have to work through the process. So when you hear things like, oh, Colorado's taking a vote to leave on Monday, they're not.
Yeah.
Nobody right now is taking a vote to leave. And frankly, I would go as far as to say, I believe 9 out of these 10 schools know what they're going to do. I think there are a couple. I really don't believe that Washington State has a real thorough idea or has a real vetted out plan as to what it's going to do if multiple teams leave the Pac-12.
Obviously not.
But I can tell you, Oregon, Washington, I think Oregon, now that they have an interim president, is much more active and agile in the process. I can tell you, President Kase at Washington, President Crow at Arizona State, President Robbins at Arizona, Taylor Randall at Utah, they all have plans in place. They know what they're going to do. Their board of regents, their management is on board with them. 9 out of 10 of these presidents are very good administrators. They're well respected. They're well respected in their communities. Nothing here is shocking. Nothing here is, like you see some of these shows that are like, oh, stunning news. It's not stunning to anybody in the Pac-12. Because, again, I've heard enough, and I've heard it enough times, that I believe these presidents know exactly what their TV deal is valued at per school. I truly believe they know that, and I think George Kliavkoff is trying to find a life raft right now. I think that's really what he's after.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you hear things like Ion TV. I think that's why you hear things, like the CW. I think that's why you hear all of these one-off, oddball networks being mentioned as, hey, this could be a home.
Yeah.
Because George is out knocking on every door that will answer him. And unfortunately for him, I just think he's not getting the answers from the people he's talking to that he needs. And I think that is a huge problem for George, because I think $22 million is the number.
Uh-huh.
If you had a gun to my head today and said, I need to know the number, I would tell you I think it's $22 million a year per school. That's what I would tell you. I believe that is the number that the Pac-12 can expect to get.
Yeah.
And I think it's incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. It's incredibly disappointing. I think it has massive implications, most notably that schools will probably leave if that is, in fact, the number. And I also think your point about backup plans, Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez was on our show, last week or 2 weeks ago now, and talked specifically about that. So, if you're looking for a little bit different of a perspective, I would tell you to go watch that interview too, because I think she really spelled out like their position and their perspective, which is not really, hey, if it's going to happen, more so like when, the San Diego States of the world, or when, other teams might leave the Mountain West to go to places like the Pac-12, what the contingency plan is. And I think her contingency plan could bring a lot of light to what a Pac-12 school's contingency plan would look like.
Yeah, and I think one of the other issues here, and I think it's really important that we all understand this, you're not just going to get a deal and all of a sudden that's your TV deal. And again, just in the vein of, hey, let's remove some of the fog and the smoke here, the actual process is George Kliavkoff's going to make the best deal he can make. The executive committee is always up to date on what he's doing. He briefs his executive committee almost daily. Anytime he talks to somebody or has a conversation, an email exchange, the executive committee, which is 3 presidents in the conference, that executive committee is up to date and aware. The issue is each one of those presidents has what's called a pod that they deal with. They have a group of schools, each one of those executive members. They know they can't get a grant of rights. Because remember how these things work. The deal with ESPN or whoever the distribution partner is not with Oregon and Washington and Arizona State and Colorado. It's with the Pac-12. The Pac-12 goes to each one of those members, issues them a contract, essentially. They sign it, and then they get all 10 remaining members to sign that contract. That's called a grant of rights. That releases George Kliavkoff to go and sign a distribution deal with said distribution partners.
Facts.
But if you don't have a grant of rights, you don't have a TV deal.
Yeah.
And if all 10 of those members don't sign that grant of rights, you don't have a TV deal. And the biggest hurdle is not who is going to carry our programming. It's getting 10 really intelligent, strong, willful people to agree to one TV deal.
Yeah.
And I think when it's built up this long, and when you have people that are, frustrated, disappointed, embarrassed, when you have people in positions where they're being asked questions they don't know the answer to, think about that. You're the president of Stanford University, California, Berkeley, Utah,
Yeah.
any of these major players, and your constituents who you answer to are like, hey, President Randall, what's going on here? Hey, President Kase, when are we going to get this done? And all you can tell them is we're working through the process. It's a process. We're trying. We're working on it.
What you want me to say to them?
We're making progress. At some point, it becomes you feeling frustrated over it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where just about all of these presidents are. It's why you see the occasional break in decorum. And you have presidents talking to the media because they get to a breaking point where they're tired of hearing about it.
Yes.
And that to me is, I can empathize with that. And when I say empathize with that, sit yourself at the table with President Kase, because I think she truly is the broker in that conference. President Kase up at Washington.
Yeah.
Put yourself behind her desk. And you were promised, hey, we're going to get, we're getting $500 million a year without USC. We're each going to make $50 million a year here.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
And you're at, let's pretend I'm right, $22 million a year.
It's not the best situation, and we all know that.
We're at $222 million a year. I mean, can you imagine the level of frustration? Can you imagine the level of disappointment? Can you imagine having been involved in hiring George Kliavkoff? And I'm told this is a real conversation behind the scenes. They have, in from what people have told me, whether it's been close or not, I don't know. But there are people who are questioning George Kliavkoff's ability to be a conference commissioner.
Yeah.
And this dude's like 15 minutes on the job, man.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's in a good place in the Pac-12.
But is it shocking that they would be questioning George Kliavkoff's ability, his viability?
It's not really. Not shocking at all.
Yeah.
But it just tells you, it makes you wonder, like, what was the hiring process here? What were you looking at? Because, again, whether you're a Pac-12 person or a Big 12 fan or a Pac-12 supporter, whatever, you can't argue. It is inarguable that Brett Yormark has run circles around George Kliavkoff.
And not just like once.
No, multiple times, but it's because George has had to deal with fire after fire after fire after fire. Like, hey, we're losing USC and UCLA. Hey, the president at USC screwed us.
My fucking
She
ass.
absolutely lied to us, screwed us. They're going. It's over. Well, I got this Board of Regents, guys. That was the other thing. I think that's where really George Kliavkoff lost a lot of these presidents.
Yeah.
Because he was assuring people I'm told by sources, he was assuring people, hey, Board of Regents, they're going to keep UCLA in the conference.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Didn't happen. You look at that fire. You look at all of this stuff, all of these presidents talking to the media. Hey, this guy's jumping. That guy's jumping. George Kliavkoff trying to keep all of these presidents together in a unified fashion. And I mean, it's a ringleader chasing monkeys around the circus, dude.
But I also think that part of the problem is that he's not able to, clearly is not able to communicate in a direct, an effective manner. I mean, why would you say, hey, we're good, USC's staying, when you know that there are issues there.
UCLA is staying.
Or UCLA is staying when you know there are issues there, right? But
it's, why would you ever use the words my back of the envelope calculation?
Exactly. That's the stuff that's like, hey, man, you're not exactly a competent, amazing, really the guy to lead us is the running joke on the show that I've started is you're not the guy to build Noah's Ark, to ride that thing out into the ocean and find a TV deal. You're not that guy, pal. And I don't think it's too strong to say that, because if he was that guy, we'd be getting him in the media regularly, because that's the other thing that nobody, and we're not really interested in talking about all these other shows, but when I look around this topic on YouTube, in the news, on Twitter, nobody is talking about the fact that George Kliavkoff is not doing media. And not only not doing media, you said how many times he's not permitted to do media.
No, he has to get the permission of the executive board to do interviews.
Which is truly just incredible to me when you look at because when I look at that relationship, I say, okay, he's an employee to those people, the Board of Regents and all those people. But Brett Yormark technically is in the exact same position, but doesn't it feel like he's in a completely different position?
The difference is Brett Yormark is confident. He is an operator. He is proven in previous employment and now his current position in the Big 12. He has proven himself.
Yeah.
He is somebody that conference leadership in the Big 12 is proud of. He is somebody that the presidents tout. I mean, the guy just has kicked ass since day one on the job. When his first day, he was traveling around the conference, making relationships, building the bridge, understanding the pressure, understanding the issues, offering, it's been described to me so many times that Brett Yormark is a guy that is solutions-based. He's a guy that if you say to him, hey, we've got to find a way to make, let's take Kansas City. We got to find a way to get out of Dallas or Las Vegas. He created Kansas City in this event and got Shaq to be a DJ. And because I could tell you, I've also heard many times, not everybody in the conference was thrilled about the hip hop lifestyle coming into the Big 12.
Right.
A lot of people were not happy with it. It was a resounding success. I am told not everybody in the conference is on board with Rucker Park.
Ronnie, please.
But those things are happening, and the just unwavering support amongst people who don't agree with the way you're doing things.
Yes.
I don't want Kansas City in hip hop. I don't want Rucker Park in the inner city of New York.
Yeah.
And those people still roundly support Brett Yormark. That tells you the difference between George Kliavkoff and Brett Yormark. And I think the other issue is, I don't know that it's all on George Kliavkoff. That thing has been a shit show since day one.
It's ridiculous.
Whether it's officiating and lawyers in the replay booth and the Aria Hotel, Casino, and Resort, the downtown office buildings, the leadership from day one in the Pac-12 was seriously flawed.
Yeah.
So I think the bar is pretty low, and that's the issue for George Kliavkoff. The bar when he got there was exceptionally low.
Yeah.
He's never raised it. He's never made moves to raise that bar, right? And so he may well be looking for employment, and he's the guy that's going to go to TryDayTrading.com and get that $30 membership for $10 and live the rest of his life as a multimillionaire.
Facts.
Bro, dude,
Nothing.
that's some of your best work, dude.
Is this thing on?
Dude, hold on. Let me wait.
This thing? Are you kidding me?
I need to knock on the door here.
Are you guys? Hello?
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 Hey, the show's on, bro. That's some of your best work right there.
Thank you. TryDayTrading.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. You guys, I want you to go there right now and at least look at it. Take a look at Tri-Day Trading, because how many people listening to this show got out of bed today and said, damn it, I don't want to do that report. I don't want to write that synopsis. I don't want to build another damn website. Somebody said to me the other day, are you being serious? Because I don't want to build another WordPress website. That's where people are in an economy where you're reliant on a paycheck, because it is the drug they give you to forget your dreams, your paycheck, right? Get to TryDayTrading.com. Just go look at this graphic on their website. It's on the front page of the website, and look at step 2. Try us for 30 days for only $10. It's a special offer for those who register and watch their, you can watch their free webinar before or after. It doesn't matter. But $10, it'll be, look at that last line, donated to a charitable organization. And you get the full deal. You get the full shebang.
Yeah.
You're giving them $10 for charity. They're giving you a 30-day membership. You get one-on-one professional coaching where they teach you how to use their proprietary systems to leverage the foreign currency markets, to leverage the stock market in day trades, where they're full-time traders. People have gone through their program and are trading full-time, are making thousands of dollars a day. Did you make $1,000 today? TryDayTrading.com. Oh, you didn't make $1,000. TryDayTrading.com. Did you want to side hustle? You want to stop doing DoorDash? Make real money in your side hustle. TryDayTrading.com. Stop buying Amazon crates. TryDayTrading.com. Right? Stop driving Uber or Lyft. Stay home. TryDayTrading.com. If you're somebody that drives Uber or Lyft, what do you have to lose? Instead of working for somebody else, start your own business at TryDayTrading.com for $10. $10 won't even buy you a tank of gas as an Uber, a Lyft, an Uber Eats, a DoorDasher. Make real money. Buy the car you want, the home you want, the life you want, the vacations you've always dreamed of. TryDayTrading.com, a $10 membership for 30 days. Hook it up at TryDayTrading.com. Outside the echo chamber says Altimore Graphics put the hockey stick to shame. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean, bro?
That segue busted me up out loud at the gym. Folks looking at me. Fuck them.
Hey,
exactly right.
Shit.
Exactly right. Truck stop Gumby. I'm not a smart man, but I know this. Brett Yormark's mom was open for business. Wow. Let's leave this out. Let's leave.
This is a family program.
Let's leave Brett Yormark's mom out of this, and I'll leave this out of your mom, okay?
Wow.
And I'll leave this. Never mind. Patrick Bourne, George should take a conference that is actually unified and down to earth. Well, that I don't disagree with that. Lamont Tucker says, Monty and Jake, what's good, guys? Lamont, you're good, man. Good to see you, my friend. That transition to a sponsor is goated.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Come on.
Thank you. WW, you think that sometimes when he's alone, Kliavkoff gets on YouTube and streams the show and wonders where it all went so wrong? I'm betting he does. He may. Mr. Monkey says, when Yormark was born, he declared he's open for business. Exactly.
Oh, my God, just like that. Oh.
Brett Burnett, Texas, Oklahoma, USC, and UCLA will all regret leaving except for the money. Oh, I don't think so. I think that Texas and Oklahoma, and a lot of Utah fans try to give me crap about this. I told you 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not even patting myself on the back.
You can go look.
Go
My
check it
guy
out.
over here is taking a ton of heat for it.
10 years ago, I told you that Texas and USC with BYU were talking about a way to form a conference or at least a group of schools who could independently operate, schedule, revenue, TV deal on their own. And they were never able to do it. And now what's happened? Texas is in a new conference, the SEC. USC's in the Big Ten, and BYU's in the Big 12. This is not something that happens shazam overnight. These deals take years to get done. How long have we been talking about BYU football, Bronco Mendenhall begging the Austin American-Statesman to do an interview so he could beg to get in the Big 12? Like a decade, dude.
Yeah.
A decade. It takes a long, long time, man. It really does. Clint Moses says, young and hip, Bape jerseys and Ashante. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Jacob DeLambo. George is busy trying to find an envelope big enough for his TV deal numbers, dude. I think that is one of the comments he will regret forever. Is my back of the envelope calc. You remember that when he was talking? It was on the Canzano-Wilner podcast, and USC was ready to bail. They were gone.
Yeah.
UCLA was battling the California Education System Board of Regents, the Cal State Board of Regents. And Kliavkoff goes on the Canzano-Wilner podcast to just do a hit piece. Like, they let him on, and they never asked a counter question. They never asked a follow-up, nothing. And he went on about how, he said all kinds of crazy stuff, but essentially he said, hey, my back-of-the-envelope calculations say, and off of memory, I could be wrong, I believe he was saying they're going to lose money on travel.
Yeah.
And he had no numbers to back it up because he was later asked, hey, do you have the numbers to back up those calculations? I believe it was at Pac-12 Basketball Media Day last year. He was asked, hey, do you have the actual data to back that up? And he's like, I'm not talking about that. I'm not giving that to you. You can go do the math. Like, super defensive.
Yeah.
That's where I think the wheels fell off of this thing. When he could not provide backup, actual evidence. And then he also went on to say that, like, no fans want this to happen. Then, like, this, I want to say it was a student newspaper at SC did a poll of SC students who all wanted it to happen, UCLA students who all wanted it to happen. He said he had talked to hundreds of people, and none of them said they were in favor of the move. Like, just he bloviated. He made stuff up to help himself, in my opinion. And I think that really cost him credibility with his presidents.
Yeah.
I think this was a very bad deal. Aaron Wilson, who, by the way, thank you for gifting memberships on the show. He did one today. Gifted one membership that went to Drew Money. Drew Money. Good to see you, Drew. Says Kliavkoff. Yes.
Facts.
Yes. Outside the echo chamber, I think the Big 12 would agree with that, Connor. Connor Johnson said Cal going to the Big 12. Right, exactly. Oakley Marquez says, hit the like button, people. Yeah, we have had 2,000 people watching the show, 87 likes. So, hey, you know what? We're right on top of 16,000 subs, by the way.
Get us to 16,000. Let's go, baby.
We are at, so hit the like button. We are at 15,986.
Come on, man. Get us to 16,000.
14 subscribers to go. Hit the like button, please. And if you're new to the channel, give us a try. Hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate that. Let's see. Who else? Rick James says West Virginia lost some money on travel, but upgraded all of their facilities, so still making money. And I think West Virginia, I have a lot of respect for West Virginia. I think West Virginia takes a lot of heat that they don't deserve. I think regionally speaking, it's very difficult to educate at a high level in that region, and that's where I will leave that statement. I'm not saying people are dumb but when you look at the industry that is in the West Virginia area and the general region, you're not talking about people who are focused on, hey, I got to go get a master's degree. I want to be an engineer. You're talking about people that are in blue collar labor positions.
Yeah.
So the socioeconomic, issues, demos, they're very different in that neck of the woods. Having been there, it is a very different place to live your life. So I have a lot of respect for West Virginia. Yes, they are very low ranked. Very low ranked. Very, very low ranked academically.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. David Helms, what time are we talking hockey playoffs? NHL greater than NBA. Go Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay, be better, bro. Be better. I mean, I know you didn't just roll in here with a Golden Knights take.
Well, what's wrong with that? I actually don't disagree with that. Early rounds in the NHL. Now, I will say the Sacto Golden State series is changing that.
Uh-huh.
But I have nothing but love for the NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
Nothing. Big Bumbo 22, clearly a USC fan. Pac-10 is basura. Basura.
Because it's garbage.
Which means garbage.
Because it's garbage.
In Latin.
Latin.
No, it's not. It's Spanish. Patrick Bourne says, woohoo, 102 likes. I like it.
Let's go.
Absolutely like 117 likes. Appreciate you guys. We are at 15,986 still. So let's get on the stick here, people. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, do it.
Gary says, thanks for having us be you, Patrick. Okay. I'm an engineer, LOL, Gary says. Where are you from, Gary? Are you originally you're not originally from Utah, are you?
No.
Rick James. They do promise scholarships, so they take in a lot of students that most schools wouldn't. Truth. You are in West Virginia. There's a lot of people who are auto bids to West Virginia.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with that. Let's see. Ooh, comment dump. CKS. Beyond me also kind of, where did it become an us or them thing? Big 12 fans seem destined the Pac-12 dies. Well, maybe. I don't know about that. $5 tip from Cowboy Country Okie State fan says, in theory, if ESPN, CW, Apple, Amazon did $10 million per team, couldn't the Pac-12 have a comprehensive package that's worth $40 million? Absolutely not. Because if you look at that grouping of broadcasters, what does ESPN have? What's the leverage for them to be in business with Apple? And what is the what would be the reason for Apple and Amazon to tag team on a deal? What would be the reason for Apple TV and ESPN and the CW and Amazon all to be in the same pot for the Pac-12? That doesn't make a lot of sense. All you're doing is diluting, and by the way, then people are going to have to figure out where your game is.
Yes.
And I think the other thing you got to remember here is the CW is not involved. The CW was very much about regionality. The CW was talking about O stations only, owned
Yes.
and operated stations only. We talked to a very high up member at the CW who told us straight away, this was a regional deal only. We were never offering our flagship owned and operated stations such as WGN in Chicago. They were never going to be in Florida. The Pac-12 on CW was never going to be in Florida, New York, New Jersey. They were never going to be in the upper Northeast. That was never going to happen. They were not going to be across the Mountain West. They were not going to be across the Midwest. They were going to be on their O&O stations in Western markets. That's it.
Yeah.
That was the extent of it. So you look at some of these things, and I just listen. I know that it is something that a lot of people are trying to figure out, and I just don't see a deal like that. Cowboy Country, ESPN, and the CW are competitors. Apple and Amazon are absolutely competitors, and I don't think Apple wants anything to do with a. And I could be wrong about this, but I don't believe that Apple wants anything to do with a full package, or Amazon wanting anything to do with a full package.
No.
I think straight away here, Amazon wanted a game of the week, which I believe we're still the only ones that have exclusively reported
And it
that.
makes sense.
They wanted, from what I understand, TV industry source told us they wanted a Friday night Pac-12 football game.
Think about it. Thursday night football with the NFL, Friday night football with college, and now you're on your way for the weekend. They're good.
I just think that Amazon Prime Sports is at a very important juncture in their existence. And I think I truly believe that they're where you want to be.
Yeah.
I will just sit here again and tell you.
Well, at some point, someone's going to go all in on streaming. I mean, at some point, someone's going to say to the Amazons of the world, hey, I know we're no Netflix with Love is Blind, but we're going to try and do an all streaming deal with you. And how can you help us?
We're no Love is Blind.
Yeah. Love is Blind. The live streaming event that didn't work?
Did you actually, know that show?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Listen, I think it's very interesting. And again, this is just me. I think it's very interesting that Netflix is having the worst week of their existence. They had the Love is Blind thing. Netflix missed the target for subscribers and is really struggling to keep their stock price afloat.
Because
like
it's
their stock price,
Yeah.
I mean, is just
Terrible.
I mean, oh my God.
It's in the dumps.